Just yesterday morning, they let me know you were gone. Suzanne, the plans they made put an end to you. I walked out this morning and I wrote down this song. I just can't remember who to send it to. I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen sunny days that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend. But I always thought that I'd see you again. Won't you look down upon me, Jesus? You gotta help me make a stand. You just got to see me through another day. My body's aching and my time is at hand. I won't make it any other way. Whoa, I've seen fire and I've seen rain. Seen sunny days that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend. But I always thought that I'd see you again.
Testing, testing. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience. We are waiting on Barry's brother Maury to arrive. He has touched down in Devonport, we believe, about 20 minutes ago, and he's currently in transit. So as a mark of respect to everybody concerned, we won't be starting the service until Barry gets here, but it shouldn't be too much longer. Maury, Barry's already here. So talk amongst yourselves, and yeah, I'm sure everybody's got plenty to say. Yeah, well, I'm pleased Barry's already here.
But I always thought that I'd see you, baby, one more time again. Thought I'd see you one more time again. There's just a few things coming my way this time around now. Thought I'd see you, thought I'd see you.
Just let you walk away, just let you leave without a trace. When I stand here taking every breath with you, ooh, you're the only one who really knew me at all. How can you just walk away from me when all I can do is watch you? Shared the laughter and the pain, and even shared the tears. You're the only one who really knew me at all. So take a look at me now. There's just an empty space. There's nothing left here to remind me. Just a man. Just make you turn around and see me cry. There's so much I need to say to you, so many reasons why. to wait for you is all I can do, and that's what I've gotta face. Take a good look at me now, 'cause I'll still be standing here, and you coming back to me is against all odds. It's the chance I've gotta take. Take a look at me now.
Goodbye, Norma Jean. No, I never knew you at all. You had the grace to hold yourself, but those around you crawled. They crawled out of the woodwork, and they whispered into your brain. They set you on the treadmill, and they made you change your name. And it seems to me you lived your life like a candle in the wind, never knowing who to cling to when the rain set in. And I would have liked to know you, but I was just a kid. The candle burned out long before the legend ever did. Loneliness was tough, the toughest road you ever played. Hollywood created a superstar, and pain was the price you paid. Even when you died, oh, the press still hounded you. All the papers had to say was that Marilyn was found in the news. And it seems to me you lived your life like a candle in the wind, never knowing who to cling to when the rain set in. And I would have liked to know you, but I was just a kid. Your candle burned out long before your legend ever did. Goodbye, normal teen. Though I never knew you at all, you had the grace to hold yourself while those around you crawled.
Oh, when the saints go marching in. Oh, when the saints go marching in. Oh, how I want to be with St. Kilda when the saints go marching in. Oh, when the saints go marching in. Oh, when the saints go marching in. Oh, how I want to be with St. Kilda when the saints go marching in, oh, when the saints go marching in, oh, how I want to be with St. Kilda when the saints go marching in.
That song was sung with gusto in 1966. Sorry, Collingwood. The newspaper notice read, Fielding, Barry Collin, dearly loved husband of Merlin, much loved dad of Kay, Neville and Warren deceased, loved pop of Kirby Lee, Megan, Abby, Alex, Kristen and his many great-grandchildren, now resting peacefully with his beloved Merlin and his beloved dog, Tessie. Officially, it's good morning to you all, and on behalf of Barry's family, I welcome you as you have gathered to pay your respects to a good man, Mr. Barry Collin Fielding. My name is Dudley Corbett, for those of you who don't know me, and I am indeed honoured to be invited by the family to conduct this celebration of Barry's life. And what a life it is to be celebrated. He lived a worthy life, a great man to a lot of people. The service will take place here in the club rooms, and then we will process the Central Coast Lawn Cemetery for interment, where he will be laid to rest with his beloved Merlin. The family will be following the hearse to Barry's house and property as per on way of transit, and they would respectfully ask you to gather at the cemetery, and they will meet you after they pay their last respects up the family driveway and on the family property. So thank you for that. At the conclusion of all our services today, you're all invited to rejoin family back here at the club rooms, and it's a wonderful turnout here today. The family have asked me to thank you for this amazing turnout, to assure you of the great comfort it gives them to know that Barry was so loved and so respected. The Barry Fielding that I knew wouldn't want a big fuss made at his farewell. I think he would have said, now, get on with it, Mr. Corbett. He always called me, I always called him Mr. Fielding, and he Mr. Corbett. We were first cousins, actually. Barry's mum and my mum were sisters, and so it's tough work today, and I know you'll understand that, but we always got on very, very well. You will all have and hold dear many special memories of this special man, and those memories will stay with you for a long, long time, and you will always remember and take pride in the lasting legacy that Barry leaves us. Nothing can now detract from all that you have shared with Barry. Nothing can affect the great happiness and depth of experience that he himself knew. The past, with all its meaning, is sacred. It is also secure. Your love for Barry and his love for you, his family and friends, can never be altered by time or by circumstance. We have some very important family members to join us shortly to pay tribute to this wonderful man, but as a way of lead-in, I would like to tell you that Barry Collin Fielding was born on the 27th of the 4th, 1941, at Penguin, up at the Sanctuary, and there may be one or two of you people here today who shared that famous birthplace. I don't remember seeing you there at the time, but a bit later on I probably ran into you. He He had some siblings, but I'm going to tell you their names very shortly. But he was the pop of Kirby Lee, Megan, Abby, Alex, Kristen, and once again his many great-grandchildren. He was a farmer of note, a man of the land, a son of the soil. He farmed for many years at Ryana, South Ryana. He was a school groundsman at the, well, I used to call it the Ryana Area School, or the Ryana College of Knowledge, and Ryana University, and all those places. But, and he played in his younger days, he played football. He was a fisherman. Him and I spent many happy hours together in school holidays when I would go up to the farm and stay with the family. We used to set a deadline or two before it became illegal, of course. We caught quite a few lobsters. I could take you to a place now where we used to go, but I think we'll let them grow a little bit bigger. He was a card player of note. He loved his cards, and you'll hear a tribute a little bit later on about that. When he played football for South Ryana, he proudly wore the red and white cap and beret, knitted cap they used to run around in football days, and when the cap came off, they'd stop chasing the ball, go back and pick the cap up and put it on. And then, he was a little rover, as we'll hear. He had a wonderful friend in his border collie, Tessie, and I reckon, given a little bit more time, I reckon Tessie could have ridden a push bike. He had her trained that very well. He loved the St Kilda Football Club, and you'll see the casket today adorned with the club memorabilia. And when the statue and the big tribute to Darryl Baldock was being formed and put outside the ground at Latrobe, then Barry was one of the donors that helped pay expenses for that particular statue. And so he was into the Saints. He loved the Saints, and every now and then he used to tell people about it when he won. I have some very important information to share with you now, and this was given to me by family, so I'll read it word for word. Barry met Merlene Best, married, and they had Kay, followed by Warren. They bought a farm in Masters Road, South Ryana. Barry had a few jobs, working 17 years as a groundsman at the Ryana School. However, his main job and love was farming, and he worked 24/7. His farm was immaculate, perfect fences, and not a weed or a thistle in sight, and he enjoyed milking his cows and growing potatoes and tomatoes. But the only one that he liked growing really was the Rouge variety, and it's a good one too. In his earlier days he played footy for South Ryana, and he was known as a good little rover. He had the nickname of Rat, and I've heard it said that he also had the nickname of Mouse. So, so he was down there, but he was closer to the ball than a lot of people. Now, his family, I told you a while ago I would give you the names of the siblings, and they were always known as Mackie, Gwyneth, Snowy, Robbie, Dougie, Maury, and Kevy. And quite a few of them are here today. The ones remaining are here with us today. And they were always known as those names. Barry talked about them a lot, and a fond story that Barry told is of a trip to Launceston, which was a big deal back in those days. His dad stopped the car and said, "Wait here, I have to let the dog out." All the kids were looking for the dog. What dog? He was really only having a toilet break. He had several ups and downs in his life. Losing his son Warren changed his life. He and Merlin then moved to his beloved 11 acres at White Hills Road, Penguin. He loved this house and the garden, and he really spent time there, and he loved that area the most. And one time son-in-law Neville went to visit him, and he was down on his hands and knees doing the lawn, with a pair of scissors. Yes, and when Neville asked him, what on earth are you doing with that? You've got a good whippersnapper, you've got a good lawnmower. He said, I like them to be neat. Yeah, perfectionist, wasn't he? Barry loved gardening. He had a tool for every job, including his scissors, and he had at least 20 shovels. Yeah. He would have known how to use each one too, I'll bet. Barry loved football. He and Merlin would go around, go and watch the Penguin Blues, and of course they're mighty saints. And after Merlin passed, Barry got Foxtel on at home so he could watch even more games at home. Mind you, this was at volume level 80, as he wouldn't wear his hearing aids. Now, when he followed the Blues, I must tell you that there are certain seats reserved out the front there, and every home game you would see Barry sitting there with the League of Gentlemen, and I can see them here today. And he'll be sadly missed out on the balcony. And there won't be any changing of batteries in Clive's transistor or anything like that anymore. But thank you for coming. Barry would have been proud of the League of Gentlemen who have arrived today. He was a creature of habit. He loved a tomato sandwich with a thick layer of butter and salt. Salt was piled on everything. He would have a cup of black tea as thick as oil in a little teacup with a whole heap of sugar. So he loved his salt, he loved his sugar. Barry liked what he liked. His dog always black and white border collie, and his car only a white Toyota. It had to be a Toyota. Barry was a small but tough man. He was a bit accident prone over the years. He fell off a ladder once picking cherries, which ruined his shoulder, and he had a few worn out parts needing both knees and a hip replacement later on. This didn't stop him getting himself and his motorbike in a few sticky situations. He was a pretty handy fisherman and especially loved fishing with a worm back when the Guns Plains River flooded. Neville and Barry had many fishing trips up to the Great Lakes. As most people know, it gets freezing cold up there. Barry wore these old trousers and jacket he had got back in the 1950s and complained about the cold so much that on the way home Neville stopped at Anaconda to get him some thermals, some trousers and a warm thick jacket. However, on their next trip Barry had on the same old clothes from the 50s. And when Neville asked where his new ones were, he replied that they were too good to wear. Barry had a great sense of humour. When in Africa, he bought a hat that the safari guides wore, and he sat in the safari vehicle driver's seat. When the guide and the tracker came, he said, "I'm driving today." He said, "I look like you, even though I'm not black." Now, you can't say that, but I've already said it. Then later we went on safari looking at the animals. We stopped to have a breakfast and a cup of tea and cake. We were walking about and there were impala dropping mounds of you know what. And the guides explained, why do they do this? And that native people said Now listen to this. I don't want this to put you off your morning tea. They said they have spitting competitions, and they follow the impala around and wait till Mother Nature takes its course. Then they pick up and they see how far they can spit it. Right? Yeah. Spitting about 4 metres. Yeah, that's a good effort. And one bloke, he spat this item for 4 metres, and then he picked it up and offered it to Barry. And Barry said, "Oh, no, look, I'll take your word for it. It was 4 metres. Yeah, that's okay." Yeah. We don't want to sound like that we were making fun of him, but he was very well loved. He made a lot of fun with everybody. He just gelled with everybody that he knew, and he will be so sadly missed. And thank you to the family for sharing those treasures with us. Before I call the grandchildren up, I have a note here to read from a dear friend. Barry had a lovely disposition. He would do anything he could for anyone. In the years that we knew him, we never heard him say a bad word about anybody. He was a great friend to us, and we are sorry to lose him. Barry didn't mind losing at cards, but he whinged about not being able to win quite often. And told us when we played with some people at Rihanna that they were all very sweet and would let him win on an occasional 8-ball call or 8-card call, which my brothers would never do. We wore him down, and he became as bad as us in the long run. So he was a bit of a stirrer and enjoyed the outings immensely. Mark Titheridge, who is with us today, worked with Barry when they were harvesting, and Barry was driving the tractor. Mark always said that Barry was the safest driver that he'd ever worked with. And this is one aspect of Barry's personality, but we have this hope that the Bible holds out that we will see our loved ones again in John chapter 5, verses 28 to 29. And this note comes with Christian love from Ray and Jean. I want to thank you, Ray and Jean. Now, one little memory that I have before I call the family up. As I said earlier, I spent many happy hours in the company of the Fieldings at South Rihanna in school holidays. Barry and I, of course, we did all things that those boys used to do, with setting deadlines and lobstering and destroying birds' nests up trees and all that. And one day we walked from the house out to the South Rihanna shop. It was a hot day, and we had a bit of spending money. I don't know how much it was, but it was a hot day, and I bought a bottle of cordial. I don't know what flavour it was, that doesn't matter. But halfway back home we decided, well, not much good of having a bottle of cordial here if we don't drink it. And we decided then, what are we going to open it with? We had nothing whatsoever. We tried everything. And in the finish I had a bright idea. I smashed the neck on a stone, got the handkerchief out and put the handkerchief over and we drank it, and we shared the handkerchief and we shared, and well, thankfully we didn't get any glass ingested. Yeah, so I think our parents might have had a blue fit if they'd have known what happened there. Look, so much to say about this man, and now we're about to hear from people who knew him. I knew him very well, but from people now who knew him quite a deal better than I, and relatives, and I now would like to call on Megan to start with, and yeah, I'm sure she has something to say on behalf of Kay and of Barry as well. It's all yours, mate.
Mum didn't quite feel up to speaking today, so she's written a piece that I'll read on her behalf called Things I've Learnt from Dad and Some of the Things He Said. The first thing I learnt from Dad was about Santa. When excitedly waiting up one Christmas Eve to catch a glimpse of Santa, I saw Dad riding a bike down the lane past the cowshed with a torch. All I wanted for Christmas was a bike, and Christmas morning I had a second-hand bike with dust on the wheels and no tassels on the handlebars. That is when I'd put the two and two together. When we were kids, we had to help milk cows, cart rocks, so many bloody rocks, and hoe out thistles. Dad worked hard all his life, and he expected us to do the same. He would say, "No one's going to give you anything, you got to work for it." Dad didn't really value an education. If you were reading a book, he would say, "You won't get anywhere in life with your nose in a book, get outside and do something." Farm work was always put before homework. Dad used to say the only people who worked are farmers. I used to work in an office, but according to Dad, all I did all day was sit on my ass, so that's not working. When I told Dad I was retiring, he said, "Why do you want to do that? What are you going to do all day?" On the rare occasion we went to the beach, I knew that was where I wanted to be, and I wasn't going to marry a farmer, and I didn't. Later, when I was lucky enough to meet Neville, who likes fishing and surfing, we would go to the East Coast as often as we could. Dad would say, "You have more holidays than the bloody Prime Minister." I got very excited when Dad told me he was buying a shack, until he told me it was at the Great Lakes. I said, "You got to be joking. Why not buy one at the East Coast?" The best thing I learned from Dad was a love for dogs. But unlike Dad, I don't go through the KFC drive-thru and get an upsized chips just for my dog. The only car to have, according to Dad, was a Toyota. Always white, and not one of those shiny, sparkly whites. So when I got a Suzuki in the colour Savannah Ivory, Dad said, "You've got a brown car, why didn't you get a white Toyota?" Dad didn't give a lot of praise or credit, but when he did, you knew he meant it. Whenever I'd walk into Dad's, I would say, "Geez, Dad, it's like a bat's cave in here. Why are all the blinds closed?" He would say, "I don't want the carpet to fade." So guess what, Dad? The blinds are open, the sun is shining, and the carpet's fading. However, the house is still looking pristine. Dad didn't like to throw things away. If it didn't work, he would buy a new one, but keep the old one. I would ask him why, and he would say, "It might come in handy someday." So I've learnt that if a vacuum cleaner doesn't suck, you can throw it away, because it won't come in handy. This was emphasised when cleaning out his fridge, and we were horrified to find a vanilla milkshake that expired 17 years ago. So if anyone would like a drink, I've also got a Tim Tam that's only 13 years out of date that can go with it. Every time I would offer to do a tip run for Dad, he would say, "I'm not worried about that. Someone else can worry about that when I'm not here." So thanks for that, Dad. It's now my worry. Dad rarely wore his hearing aids, so he would have the TV roaring with his hearing aids sitting on the table beside him. So I've learnt that if you put them in your ears, you can actually hear, and it might save you some embarrassment. When Dad was waiting to go to theatre, a bloke, also in a gown, walked past with long green and purple hair and large stretchers in his ears. I immediately thought, oh no, Dad will say something here. And sure enough, he said, "Do you reckon that's a bloke or a girl?" I said, "Dad, shh, he'll hear you." He then said, also at the top of his lungs, "Oh, I reckon he's here for a sex change operation." Thankfully, he gave Dad a look and not a punch. Dad surprised the hell out of me by saying he wanted to go to Africa to see the lions. When getting over the shock of it and knowing he was serious, I said, "If you want to go, Neville and I will come with you." The trip was amazing and Dad absolutely loved it, and I'm so glad we got to share those experiences with him. He got to see the lions, and then he caught the travel bug and booked a trip to Canada to see the bears. Unfortunately, COVID had other plans. All jokes and stories aside, Even if he was as deaf as a post, stubborn as a mule, and set in his ways, he was a good person with great morals. If I'm lucky enough to live to be 83, maybe I'll be just like him. I'm very proud to call him Dad, and I will miss him and his best friend Tessie. Knowing that Mum, Dad and Tessie are back together brings me great comfort.
Yeah, thank you for that, Megan, and I'll pass these items of groceries on to the catering staff, ready for a bit later. It'd be a pity to waste them, really. I'd now like to call on granddaughter Abby to come forward and to share some thoughts of this wonderful man. Thanks, Abby.
Thank you. Pop's greatest loves were St Kilda, a cup of Bushell's tea, farming and KFC. He was by all definitions a farmer. From his beloved farm dog, the Border Collie, diet of meat and veg, love for four-wheelers, and also his love for Toyota. He'd have a cheeky jab at anyone who bought a new car that wasn't a Toyota. He always saw the best in others and rarely bothered to lock his house or his shed or his car. When he would visit me, he would leave his car on the street unlocked with his keys and wallet under the mat. When I questioned this, he would say, "Nah, they wouldn't go worrying about that too much." He had a green thumb and would often drop over homegrown raspberries in a used old ice cream container because he'd say, "Good container that, there's nothing wrong with it, it still works all right." The raspberries were always a hit at Christmas, followed by a game of backyard cricket, who even at 83, he would still have a good crack at. Farming was his life, and he believed no matter how hard someone worked, a farmer always worked harder. Pop lived by this, and he worked hard his entire life. He inspired all around him to always give everything that you choose to do better than your best. He was independent, stubborn, and hardworking, something that is definitely a Fielding trait, and something that I feel very honoured to carry in my genes. He had a prosperous life, a grandfather to 5, and even a great-grandfather to 7. I remember the first time he met my son Rayland. As I put baby Rayland into Pop's arms for a hold, he said, "Oh, they're vulnerable at this age, nothing like a cow. If he was a cow, he'd be up and about walking around by now." Pop was very social. He loved to be out and about. He loved his footy, the speedway, and he loved a chat. He could easily strike up a conversation with a complete random and make friends and connections wherever he went. This is proven when you look around today. Thank you all for coming and helping us to celebrate his life.
Well done, Abby. As you said, hard work is a trait that the Fielding family are famous for, and they continue in that great tradition. And now, Kirby Lee, I think it might be your turn. You've got lots of good things to say about our friend too, haven't you? Yeah, that's all.
Our Pop was the most kind-hearted, incredible person, and such a hard worker. Every conversation with Pop would begin the same way, with him asking how was work and if you had been working much. It would always make us laugh, the satisfaction he seemed to get from our answer. Some of our favourite memories of Pop include him coming to our house in Penguin. He would let us climb onto the flat tray of his Toyota Hilux, hold on tight and drive us up the road. Pop would let us drive Nan's mobility scooter, which we were only allowed to have in slow mode. He soon showed us how to put it into fast. They would have buckets of Maltesers at their house, and Pop would say, "Have as many as you like," which Abby would take quite literally. Then he would always say, "A mouse is in my house. A mouse ate all my Maltesers." And we would laugh. Pop came to visitors' day at school, where I had to give a presentation. He sat and gave his full attention, then at the end said, "That was really good." Had a long pause, then said, "If I could read it, I don't have my glasses," which was met from laughter from everyone around, including him. Pop would enter any house our parents ever lived in, around the back, never knocking, just walking in. He would bring raspberries every Christmas and play backyard cricket with us, jumping and diving for the ball. But I think our favourite memory would be the love and sense of family he extended to our wonderful dad. He would know his work schedule and be thrown off if he ever did overtime. Quote the words Neville said quite often, although he was extremely independent and no one could change his mind. To our mum, the love and care you have taken of Pop during this time is something to be truly admired. We are deeply sorry for your loss and love you so much. We are so thankful for the times and memories we got to share with our amazing Pop and his beautiful Tess.
Yeah, it's an emotional time for family, and the grandchildren are doing remarkably well under trying circumstances. But I'd now like to call on Alex and Kristen to come forward and to share some memories with us. Go the Saints.
Although he left the cowshed a long time ago to move to Penguin, or the Gold Coast of Tasmania as he would say, he will always be our cowshed Pop. Alex and I are ever so grateful for the huge part he had in our lives. Far too many memories to share them all, but here's a few. His love of potatoes and tomatoes, his love of salt and pepper, to the extent he turned me off both salt and pepper. Trips to the shack at the lakes, even if we couldn't eat our hot chips that he bought from Deloraine until we got to the shack. His love of footy, the fishing trips, taking us to watch the footy and rodeos, backyard cricket with his homemade cricket bat, his veggie garden, his safety skills or lack thereof, letting us have races on the electric scooters and trips up to South Rana. A memory that stays so close to me is potting peas for tea, straight from his garden into the pot. Although between Pop, the dog, and myself, I'm unsure how many ended up in the pot. And whilst all this was happening, Alex would have been stirring up his gravel.
We both have a lot to thank him for. He was always there for us. Seeing him with our kids, his great-grandkids, and the way his face lit up with pure joy. They will miss the tickles, the surprise chocolates when he would visit. Although this would occur every visit, it wasn't really a surprise. His homemade jam, kicking the football, and bowls of ice cream, no matter what time of the day. His fresh fruit and vegetables. We promised to keep the kids in water learning to swim, because let's face it, between him, Alex and I, Kristen and I, they both hold much hope. They don't hold much hope. We promised to keep his love of potatoes continuing in our households. We will miss his TV and radio being blasted at full volume when we visit, and calling him. Mind you, you would have to call 3 times consecutively before he would answer. Him stirring us up, him asking us how many Ks we had clocked up on our cars, and what every button would do. Him being super surprised when I didn't know the said person he was talking about. He was such a hard-working, love-devoted, independent, curious larrikin who lived every day, but most of all, he was our cowshed Pop. Laid to rest with his best mate Tessie, reunited with cowshed Nan and Dad. Rest peacefully. We love you, cowshed Pop. Thank you all for coming.
Yes, they've done an amazing job, and yeah, as I said earlier, a very emotional and a hard time for them. And I think once again, collectively, that we do owe them another polite round of applause for their wonderful efforts. I hope, Barry, that the microphone was switched up enough so that you could hear all these lovely things being said about you. Yeah. I think Barry would have said this: when I come to the end of the road and the sun is set for me, I want no rights in a gloom-filled room. Why cry for a soul set free? Miss me a little, but not too long, and not with your head bowed low. Remember the love that we once shared. Miss me, but let me go. For this is a journey we all must take, and each must go alone. It's all a part of the Master's plan, a step on the way to home. So when you are lonely and sick of heart, go to the friends we know. Bury your sorrows in doing good deeds. Miss me, but let me go. So sweet is the sunshine that follows the rain, and so is the peace that follows the pain. Softly the leaves of memory fall. Gently we gather and treasure them all. Today, tomorrow, our whole lives through. Our dear friend Barry, we will not forget you. So a dearly loved father, father-in-law, grandfather, great-grandfather, your mate and your good friend has started on the next stage of his journey. His kindness, his wisdom, his understanding, and above all, just being there for each of you as you grew, made us really treasure the legacy that you have left with us, and it will continue to inspire us all into the future. We're about to go back a little in time in Barry's life per virtue of some treasured family photographs and listen to some of Barry's favourite music as we go. Thank you.
What would you say if I can have you back right here for one day? I'd do anything to see that smile on your face. What would it take for you to stay? Just say we can drink a few beers in that old garage, laugh about the things that I ain't forgot, yeah. 'Cause I miss you. Or would you tell me all about them streets of gold? Would you tell me that you know you're finally home? Does anyone have the number to heaven? I need it right now, I just can't help it. I haven't heard your voice in a while. I know it may sound just a little silly, but pick up the phone if you can hear me. I need to make sure you're alright. Does anyone have the number to heaven? 'Cause I need it now. I know that you're in a better place, and that's what helps me take the pain away. It doesn't make me selfish, I want you, babe. I can't believe you were gone just like that. Does anyone have the number to heaven? I need it right now, I just can't help it. I haven't heard your voice in a while. I know it may sound just a little silly, but pick up the phone if you can hear me. I need to make sure you're alright. Does anyone have the number to heaven? 'Cause I need it now. 'Cause it's been so long, I still can't accept the fact that you are gone. But I need just a little hope, because I can't make it alone down this road. We can drink a few beers in that old garage, laugh about the things that I ain't forgot, yeah. Would you tell me all about them streets of gold? Would you tell me that you know you're finally home? No, I ain't Does anyone have the number to heaven? I need it right now, I just can't help it. I haven't heard your voice in a while. I know it may sound just a little silly, but pick up the phone if you can hear me. I need to make sure you're alright. Does anyone have the number to heaven? 'Cause I need it now. Does anyone have the number to heaven? 'Cause I need it now.
There goes my heart beating, 'cause you are the reason I'm losing my sleep. Please come back now.
There goes my mind racing, and you are the reason that I'm still breathing. I'm hopeless now.
I'd climb every mountain and swim every ocean
just to be with you and fix what I've broken.
Oh, 'cause I need you to see that you are the reason.
There goes my hand shaking, and you are the reason my heart keeps bleeding. I need you now.
If I could turn back the clock, I'd make sure the light defeated the dark. I'd spend every hour of every day keeping you safe. And I'd climb every mountain and swim every ocean just to be with you and fix what I've broken. Oh, 'cause I need you to see that you are the reason. I don't wanna fight no more. I don't wanna hurt no more. I don't wanna cry no more. Come back, I need you.
The reason.
Just a little closer now. Come a little closer. I need you to hold me tonight. I'd climb every mountain
And swim every ocean
just to be with you and fix what I've broken. 'Cause I need you to see that you are the reason.
Thank you to the family for sharing those very treasured memories. One photo took the eye when him and the late and great Ray Mason used to be the champion spud picker-uppers, and they carried their title for many years undefeated. And I also noticed that none of you people have changed a bit, except some of his former football teammates. They've changed quite a bit. As a mark of our upbringing and Barry's upbringing, the family have requested that we include the Lord's Prayer today. I'll say the Lord's Prayer and invite those of you who are so minded to join with me. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. That brings to a close our service here in the club rooms, ladies and gentlemen, and I now reverently invite you to stand as we commence to take Barry on his final journey.
It's perfect outside, it's like God let me dial up the weather. Got the whole crew here, I ain't seen some of them in forever. It's one of those never forget it, better stop and take it in kind of scenes. Everything's just right, yeah, except for one thing. You should be here, standing with your arm around me here, cutting up, cracking a cold beer, saying cheers. Hey y'all, it's sure been a good year. It's one of those moments that's got your name written all over it. And you know that if I had just one wish, it'd be that you didn't have to miss this. You should be here. You'd be taking way too many pictures on your phone, showing them off to everybody that you know back home, and even some you don't. Yeah, they say now you're in a better place, and I would be too if I could see your face. You should be here, standing with your arm around me here, cutting up, cracking a cold beer, saying cheers. Hey y'all, it's sure been a good year. It's one of those moments that's got your name written all over it. And you know that if I had just one wish, it'd be that you didn't have to miss this. Oh, you should be here, you'd be loving this, you'd be freaking out, you'd be smiling. Yeah, I know you'd be all about what's going on right here, right now. God, I wish somehow you could be here. Oh, you should be here. Yeah, this is one of those moments that's got your name written all over it. And you know that if I had just one wish, it'd be that you didn't have to miss this. Oh, you should be here. You should be here.
When I get where I'm going, on the far side of the sky, the first thing that I'm gonna do is spread my wings and fly. I'm gonna land beside a lion and run my fingers through his mane, where I might find out what it's like to ride a drop of rain. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, there'll be only happy tears. I will shed the sins and struggles I have carried all these years, and I'll leave my heart wide open. I will love and have no fear. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, don't cry for me down here. gonna walk with my granddaddy, and he'll match me step for step. And I'll tell him how I've missed him every minute since he left. And then I'll hug his neck, yeah, when I get where I'm going. There'll be only happy tears. I will shed the sins and struggles I have carried all these years, and I'll leave my heart wide open. I will love and have no fear. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, don't cry for me down here. So much pain and so much darkness in this world we stumble through. All these questions I can't answer, and so much work to do. But when I get where I'm going, and I see my Maker's face, I'll stand forever in the light of His amazing grace. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, there'll be only happy tears. I will love and have no fear. Yeah, when I get where I'm
No words appear before me in the aftermath. Salt streams out my eyes and into my ears. Every single thing I touch becomes sick with sadness. Because it's all over now, all out to sea. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. You were bigger than the whole sky. You were more than just a short time. And I've got a lot to pine about. I've got a lot to live without. I'm never gonna meet what could have been, would have been, what should have been you. What could have been, would have been you. Did some bird flap its wings over in Asia? Did some force take you because I didn't pray? Every single thing to come has turned into ashes. 'Cause it's say words I don't believe. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. You were bigger than the whole sky. You were more than just a short time. And I've got a lot to pine about. I've got a lot to live without. I'm never gonna meet what could have been, would have been, what should have been.
Early morning, there's a message on my phone. It's my mother saying, darling, please come home. I fear the worst. How could you leave us all behind? There's so much to say, but there's so little time. So how do I say goodbye to someone who's been with me for my whole damn life? You gave me my name and the color of your eyes. I see your face when I look at mine. So how do I say goodbye when I couldn't? You always saw the best in me. Right or wrong, you were always on my side. But I'm scared of what life without you's like. And I saw the way she looked into your eyes. And I promise if you go, I will make sure she's alright. So how do I say goodbye to someone who's been with me for my whole damn life? You gave me my name and the color of your eyes. I see your face when I look at mine. So how do I say goodbye? And there's no way you could ever let me down. Gonna steal some time and start again. You'll always be my closest friend. And someday we're gonna make it out. Just hold the light. Just hold the light high, high. So how do I say goodbye to someone who's been with me for my whole damn life? You gave me